Hey fam, Swati Tuk Konkrat Pinik here, and thank you for waiting for me. I apologize. I had been trying to figure out how to get it going, and I'd forgotten that I have to put my phone on USB debugging mode to make it work the way that I want it to. So I apologize about that. So I'm just trying to see if I can remember how to bring up your comments on this particular screen. Thank you for being here, Ethan. I appreciate you, buddy. All right, so let's just see here. Just 1 second here. I want to see if I can figure this out real quick. I think this is the one I want. Let's take a look here. Because I want to see the live chat comments. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, and let me just see here, can figure out how to see it on YouTube. Tools. I know there's a way on here too to see my live chat, but I don't remember what it is, and I apologize. It doesn't do me any good if I can't see your comments. So let's see here. No. Again, I am deeply sorry. Last week I couldn't get the microphone working. This week I couldn't get this going. Okay. YouTube control panel. I think that's what I want to see. Let's start that stream. All right. So we have some viewers. That's good. I appreciate you being here. All right. And then how do I see what your comments are? Great. Thank you for opening another page that I already had. Again, apologize. Appreciate you sticking around. We'll get to the AYN Thor here in just a moment. Feel free to leave your comments in the comment sections below, even if it's Nick, you're not the brightest tool in the shed, and I do apologize about that. Like I say, last week it was much easier to get it all up and running, and now this week it's not. So I'm trying to figure out why. Yes. Control room, I think that's it. That's what I want. Let's take a look. Hey, there we go. I see Ethan and Mikey's. I think that's how you would say it. So I know Ethan is from Australia. This is the first time Mikey's has joined. So if you're still there, Mikey's, I'd be curious where you're from. I'm Canadian, if you don't know, but I live in Bangkok, Thailand. All right. So I've been playing around with the Thor the last few days. And like I say, I want Mikey's to tell me where he's from, or he or she is from. Don't want to guess there. And I want you guys to decide. Ethan, I'll let you decide what color do you want the left analog stick to be, and Mikey's, what color do you want the right analog stick to be? And awesome, from Sweden. That's somewhere I've always wanted to go. I've always had the nickname Polar Bear because even in Canada at -40, I'd walk around in a t-shirt and shorts or jeans without a jacket on. So I've always wanted to go to Sweden, one, because it just looks beautiful, and because, yeah, lots of history and mythology around that area of the world, and just I love that kind of stuff, along with technology. So again, Mikey's, tell me what color you want over here. Ethan, comment in the comments what color do you want here. So while you guys are going to put that in, we'll just do a tour again. So if you haven't seen my unboxing, one of the cool things is because this is a transparent shell, of course you can see the screen ribbons and it looks really cool. But if you decide that you don't care about seeing the ribbons, maybe you have some stickers that you want, heaven forbid you want to put an Apple sticker on there, but everyone's different. All right, Mikey's, you're a good guy. Red is my favorite color. And Ethan, you have to decide in the chat what color you want the left stick to be. But so they give you a black sheet of paper that you can put in here with the guitar pick to pop it open, of course, and then you can put your own stickers. Maybe you want a really great PNix logo sticker. I've never created them, but if somebody did, come on, Ethan, we can't have dual red. Come on, buddy. But I just open it up here so you can kind of see. Let me turn off the screen. See if you can see it there. Yeah, there we go. I'm wearing my PNix shirt. So this, you know, if there is demand for it, I will obviously have stickers made of this. But I do have shirts and a vendor to make shirts here in Thailand that made this for me. And then it has the full logo on the back. And that does go to the next winner or any winner of the member giveaway. So before I get ahead of myself, the member giveaway, we already had one at 100. We'll have our next one at 500 subscribers, which you guys are awesome. We've really jumped this week in because of this device in subscribers. And so the next one will be 500, and then the next one will be 1,000. So, and then every count after that, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 on up, I'll do a member giveaway where you can choose to get a desk mat like this. The first person that won it chose a desk mat, and I shipped it to him to England, no cost to him. Said he loved the quality. You can choose the size of the desk mat you want. So it's all up to you. Or, of course, you can get a t-shirt, or you can choose to have a PNix coffee mug, which the same vendor that made my t-shirts also made my coffee mugs. So I do have these in stock. Again, they're not for sale. This is just member giveaways. I think it looks really awesome personally, but you could choose that, or you could choose a little USB-A, USB-C flash drive. I believe 128 is the largest that they can do, and the box has PNix logo on it as well as the flash drive itself. So you can choose those if you're part of the member giveaway, and to be a member, qualify for the member giveaway, sign up for the web subscription on YouTube. And I'm still contemplating, yes, I've tried some PS2 games already, and PS3 games, which are more hit or miss, some Switch, some 3DS, so we'll get into all of that. If there's a specific PS2 game or specific ones that you'd like to see, if I have them on my device, I'll be happy to try it out for you, Mikey's. And if not, like say, I'll do another live stream for this device next Wednesday, and I'll play the game that I don't have on my device today. But yeah, so subscribe on it, and I'm contemplating whether to open a Discord server and then just have you sign up for the Discord server and message me privately saying my YouTube name is this, I'm subscribed there. The only reason I ask for that, it in that way, is either way, I never spam you. I would only send you messages if you win the member giveaway or if you reach out to me first, of course. But that's because YouTube will not allow me to direct message you. So that's how you'd qualify for the member giveaway. Okay, so you can see the top part here. We just have our shoulder buttons, which are nice and stacked in shoulder buttons. No inputs, no exhaust as far as this goes. Same thing on this side. Same thing on this side. Now you'll notice on the corners, and I don't know if I would ever use it, but my accessory package that hopefully will arrive tomorrow for the AYN Thor comes with a lanyard. So you have a lanyard spot here and also over here. So they give you the choice. If you want to use a lanyard, do you want it on left or right? So again, I appreciate that we get the options. And then of course we have volume up and down, which for me, I would say is a bit confusing. I'd prefer the volume up here because it just, move it as if it were on the side. And so it feels a little awkward for me having it volume into the center, but it is what it is. Let's see if I can't get it to focus. There we go. We of course have our power button, USB-C port, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, and our TF/micro SD card slot. Come on phone. There we go. TF is just the generic name for micro SD. And then of course, because it is transparent, you can even see, for example, the pull tabs on the battery. You can see the air intake, the exhaust. You can see the little bits and bobs. I think it looks really great, personally. And then even, for example, you can see them a bit here. You can see the pads underneath the face buttons, and you can see them here as well because of the transparent shell. Come on. There we go. And then this is the TCC or Thor Command Center button. Does not turn on your screen. Only the power button or opening the device turns on your screen. So a good thing to note. All glass front, so some people love it or hate it. A YouTuber out of Japan that I saw, she had purchased the anti-reflection or matte finish film for both, so that way it's not reflective for her. I'm tempted to get that because, well, one, it's very smudgy, and two, it's very shiny. All right, so let's bring this up. Of course, I put my wallpaper on here. If you have already seen my video, then you'll know that. So we need to unlock it, P for PNIC. There we go. Bring up the TCC, the Thor command. And again, just a quick tour. You can control both screens at once if you want as far as brightness goes, or if you want to drop one or the other, you can drop them individually or increase them individually. But as soon as you touch that dual, then it bounces. Same thing for this audio. You can choose whether it's top or bottom or both. The nice thing there is, for example, maybe you're streaming your favorite episode of The Simpsons from 1995 down here, since this is closer to a 4:3 screen, and you don't really want to pay attention to that other than glance at it occasionally, but maybe up here you're playing Genshin Impact, right? So you want to hear Genshin, so you do that. And you change the audio profiles. Then you can also turn off the screens if you want to conserve power. There we go, or leave them both running. And then of course tasks brings up the task switcher. So yes, I did get Azahar running. I figured that part out. I did get Melon DS running for DS, so that's good. And then of course we can come into settings, and this is where you can quickly toggle between 60 Hertz mode and 120 Hertz mode. Now this screen is natively 60 Hertz versus this is 120 Hertz or 120 frames per second. So the way that they get around it is they send the device a command making it think that this is receiving 120 Hertz. So if you're scrolling something, you do get a little bit of a wavy screen on it. So for example, if you're going to do that, you'd probably want to be playing a game that only uses the top screen and maybe a strategy guide up here. Because the reason they need to do that is by default, the way that Android works is the lowest refresh rate is what both screens will receive. So that's why they're sending it the false signal, making it think that it's getting 120, which makes it have a little bit of wavy whenever it gets to motion. I do have it currently set to high performance just because I've been testing PS3 games and stuff today. The thing I do like as well, you can see how much of the CPU I'm using, which apparently I'm using quite a bit, probably because I probably still have PS3 and stuff running. Let's kill some things here. Let's clear all. There we go. Let's see if that drops it at all. But anyways, so CPU usage, GPU usage, how much power are you using? How much RAM are you using? You can see we do occasionally jump up above 8. So I would always recommend get the Pro model if you can afford it. It's not much more than the base model, but you go from 8 gigabytes to 12 gigabytes of RAM. So you do get that more leeway if you're going to use high-end gaming. If you're only going to play PS1 and below, then by all means the base one would work because you can always use the micro SD card slot for those. unless you plan to do a lot of PC gaming. That's the other caveat, is if you want to use things like game native, they'll download onto your device only. And obviously computer games don't care about storage as much as Android games do, generally speaking. So they use a lot of storage, so you could run out of space really quickly because you can't use your micro SD card. So you can see how much my fan is running, what the temperature of my CPU is currently registered at. And you can quickly toggle on if you want it to just lock onto what screen as far as your controls go based on what you've touched last, or you can say only recognize the touch. It doesn't matter, or use the controls always for the top, or use the controls always for the bottom. That's what this is suggesting here. So again, choose what would make sense to you. Auto works fine for me, so we'll leave it at that. Again, you can quickly toggle on standard performance, medium, or high. Change out your fan mode, smart, sports, or custom curve. You can tell it to clear out the memory. Which style do you want? Do you want Xbox/PlayStation, where the enter button is the bottom button? Do you want the Nintendo Switch style layout, where Nintendo loves having A over here and having A be the enter button? So you could choose that. Or ban on use. Of course, that means that you're going to connect wireless controllers and it's going to ignore these buttons. Okay, so during my unboxing, I wasn't sure about direct power supply. So for full transparency, that's when you plug into the USB-C port to charge it. And it's not going to charge the battery. It's going to leave the battery at what it is, and it's just going to receive the power coming in to power the device as we go. So basically saves your battery from being used. And again, RAM there. So really great that we have this, but of course we can tap on the AYN button and go from there. All right, so let's go back here. Okay, and ambient lights. So we do have the right one. We're going to turn on and leave it red. And then, so you can even just choose to have one on if you want. Again, customizability and personalization to match your personality is always greatly appreciated by me. So we currently have it at green. So let's see here. Red. Let's go red and yellow. Since Ethan never chose a second color, let's go with the second. Let's go with that as our secondary color. But like I say, you can choose how bright do you want it to be. Maybe you want a light yellow versus a bright red. There you go. We'll consider that good for today. Adds a little bit of pizzazz to it. All right, so there's kind of a quick walk around of the device. Of course, you also have your select button, start button, back button, and Android home button. Your dual firing, front-facing stereo speakers. They aren't the best that I've heard this year, but they are on par with the AYN Odin 2 Portal. They are on par with the ROG Ally X. Surprisingly, the Stream.AYN Brick Hammer had the best speakers I've had. They've had actually the deepest bass of any of them. Like this, I can tell there's bass, but there's no bass coming out of it. It's just, you can tell where the bass should be. It's not silent. Whereas on the Brick Hammer, while it's not thumping, there is just a little bit of a vibration from the bass where it actually gives you some low end. So I don't know how they do it in that little guy, but they do. So this with the AYN Odin 2 Portal and ROG Ally X would probably be tied for number 2 as far as audio goes, which isn't a bad place to be for the year, considering I've reviewed over 20 devices this year. All right, so we can leave it in 120 Hertz mode. And then we got asked about PS2. So you can go about it one of two ways. Of course, you can go through a front end like ESDE Odin Launcher. I haven't even tried that yet, which to be fair to them, I should, because Anbernic's front end surprised me, but I haven't tried it yet. I've used Daijisho and Pegasus. Daijisho is probably the second best of what I've used, and of course I've used RetroArch too, compared to the two. The difference is Daijisho doesn't scrape as much as information as ESDE does, but it does it quicker and easier. But ESDE adds your ROMs list quicker and easier. So it's kind of which one do you prefer? ESDE gives you all of your devices all at once. If you just have one ROMs folder and tell it to look there when you first boot up ESDE, you get all of your ROMs automatically loaded. But then you have to go system by system and scrape all your box art. Whereas Daijisho, you go device by device and say, look, this is where my ROMs are for NES. This is where my ROMs are for PS2. And then you can tell it to sync it. And when you tell it to sync it, then it'll do all the box scraping for that device. So simpler process than what ESDE has for scraping. But ESDE gives you more options on what you pull and how you pull it. So again, it's really up to you. For me, I still love ESDE more. I'm still planning to get Beacon to try Beacon for this and future devices. Speaking of future devices, I did receive my next device already. So I'm excited about that, but that'll have to wait for 2 Mondays from now. So let's just look at ESDE. Now, I have an insane amount of ROMs on this device, so it takes a while for it to load on my end. But yes, Mikey's, if you were talking about the color of the device itself, yeah, the transparent purple I think is really slick. I love even being able to see the screen ribbons right here. Like just those little bits, I just think look really cool. But I'm a nerd, so we'll let it load up here. Yeah, so I do have some games that I want to try. One for Frostbite 11 or Frostbite 1.1 that suggested a PS3 or a PS Vita game. I'm not that great at that style of game, but I'll show it playing, of course, as per requested. And then I will try some PS3 games and some 3DS games that Ethan suggested, but also, like say, anyone in the chat, Mikey's or anyone else watching right now, place in your suggestion in the chat now. I'll add it to the list. If it's already on my device, I'll go ahead and do that. If it's not on my device, then I'll make sure it's part of next week's. So you can see I've also added Android apps with it as well, so I can go in and access it. The reason that this is nice is, of course, one, YouTube, for example, but you can make ESDE be your front-end launcher. What I mean by front-end launcher is when you first boot it up, instead of seeing this, the Android front end, you would see ESDE be the first thing that boots up. You wouldn't see this. So you can absolutely do that with the Obtainium. Makes it easiest. Obtainium, then it gives you the option of things to download. So that's the nice thing. If you want easy access to your ROMs, or not to your ROMs, but to emulators, I would personally go through Obtainium, and then there's a JSON file that you can download from their site as well. And when you download that, then you are able to download the others like Citra, Eden, and the nice thing is it acts like the Play Store does, where you're able to keep your things up to date. So that's how that works. But anyways, back to ESDE. So you can absolutely make it your front end and then have all of your apps here, and it just looks nice. Let's go back out. So PS2, it for some reason doesn't show all of my God of War games. And it doesn't work as well as possible, but let's see here. Maybe, let's see here, other settings, I think it is, the alternative emulators. Okay, so yeah, it's saying open with the standalone app. Okay. Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance. See if it loads properly. And anyone else that's here, I'd love for you to introduce yourself, say hi. You'll be able to see the frames per second here while keeping the TCC, the Thor Command Center, open. I was so excited when Metal Gear Solid 2 was coming out for PS2. I waited and got the PS2 as quickly as I could. But alas, it wasn't meant for launch day. I was there, and I was supposed to get one, but they changed the rules last minute. So had to wait a few months, but oh yeah, I forgot they always act Japanese. Let's do normal mode. Sure, let's try that. I love that the buttons are flat, much quieter than the Odin 2 portal. And I can tell you, Mrs. Penick, her name's Jo, or P. Jo here in Thailand. She said that she likes this device a lot more than her previous favorite, which was the Stream.AYN Smart Pro, because she feels comfortable throwing this in her purse. Skip over the cutscene, even though I'm sure it's great. We'll skip through Otacon. No offense to Otacon. He's a great guy. There you can see Mikey's absolutely flawless PS2. No funky jittering or anything like that. It's just like it was on the native PS2. Now let's get to some gameplay. And make sure you guys have a good view here. There we go. A little interesting trying to play looking at the computer screen, because obviously I wouldn't be playing at this angle. And ah, so yeah. Anyways, you can see no funky jittering. Just looks great. So Mikey's, if you're still there, PS2 looks good. I died. I died. That's all right. Let's bring up our Thor command center again. All right, so Vita is a pain in the butt. I have to admit, it's definitely not something for the faint of heart, because you have to add all of your ROMs individually. You can't add them one at a or all at a time. So it takes time and patience. You have to go file, and it has to be a zip file. So if you have your Vita files, let's say saved as a 7Z or 7Z file, you have to change it to a zip file. Kind of a goofy thing, I understand. But so yeah, you would go to your ROMs and then find your PS Vita. PS Vita. Of course, if I know my alphabetical order, that always helps. There we go, PS Vita. And then, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry about that. I messed that up. That's on me. The fun part of doing things live sometimes. Okay, PSV. There we are. So you have to find your ROM that is currently saved correctly. I think access denied might be already on my device. Let's just keep looking. Age of Zombies. I don't think I've saved that on my system. Let's see. Can I save it? There we go. And then you have to go one by one and add it. Found with compatible contents. All right. Good job. All right. So, and then you have to scroll through your games. And so Frostbite 11 or 11 asked for, I'm not even sure how to say it, Disgaea 3, Disgaea 3, I'm not sure. So let's look down here. There we go. Nippon Ishi Software presents. He's good. I just saw Joe carrying him up to the bedroom to go to sleep because my office is in the middle of the floor. Oh, there he is. I see him now. She just brought him back down. But she didn't come by to say hi, sadly. So, but Dominic is doing great. Not the easiest, but let me see if I can snag them whenever they come by. Ethan. So PS Vita isn't the best. I will be 100% honest. This is a very good game because I'm guessing it being this style of game, it actually plays very well. So I tried Nathan Drake's games, not so good. It's hit or miss at this point because Vita emulation and PS3 emulation are probably the two newest types of emulation that you can deal with. Okay, I could have sworn I had played this already, but all right. Let's start. Ooh, Boundless Riffraff. Ethan, were they talking about you? Boundless Riffraff? Let's just skip ahead here. "100 fathers, wow. Impressive, fella." And again, you can see that. Like how they translated dude to Dood instead of Dude. That's awesome. Ooh, peace was restored. The little penguin servants. I know, right? Thanks, Stephen. And Stephen, I know you're in the UK. But as you can see, this Vita game plays flawlessly. Even in combat, stays looking the same. So, Mr. Frostbite 1-1 or 11, I can safely say that if this is your favorite Vita game, your favorite Vita game will play without a hitch and look really great on this OLED screen. With this art style, these types of games look incredible, as do retro games. And his little penguin butler friends. All right. I like how they all jump with excitement. Again, if you're watching and I haven't said hi to you yet, I'd love it if you say hi and introduce yourself, where you're from. As I mentioned at the beginning, in most of my videos, I'm a Canadian that currently lives in Bangkok, Thailand, with my wife and 20-month-old son, Dominic. But yeah, without any stutters, this game looks great and plays really well. It won't let me jump to my death, sadly. It's like you're too new, you can't commit suicide yet. But I think it looks pretty good. All right, so that's Vita 3X. Like I say, is not easy to set up, not for the faint of heart. Like trying to set up a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1 games, those are things you can do on day one. I would not recommend trying to connect the Vita on your first day of using a retro handheld. unless you're very tech savvy. But nevertheless, I got there. All right, so we got some 3DS games requested by Ethan. And if you do want to, 1 p.m., all right, it's 8 p.m. here. All right, so, and Stephen, if you want to see a game for a console, you absolutely can. And yes, it does. It has full Android on it, so you can absolutely connect Bluetooth to it, any Bluetooth device you want. Where's Bluetooth again? So any Bluetooth device you'd like. I don't currently have Bluetooth. There we go. Pair a new device. Let's see what it finds. Master bedroom hub, master bedroom TV. So yeah, see, connects, it finds everything just fine, just like any other Android device. So if you want headphones, absolutely. If you want a Bluetooth controller, absolutely. And of course, for audio, one of the things that a lot of companies have forgotten, Stephen, is we do have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack as well. Yeah, it's relatively recent. Let's take a look in the settings here while we're at it. Do have our Thor settings there, system settings, of course. Yeah, Android 13. It's not the most recent build of Android, but 13 is still pretty darn recent, especially for, you know, a handheld coming from China. And if you haven't seen my unboxing video, Stephen, one of the nice things is the app drawer came enabled out of the box. I didn't have to change any settings for the app drawer to be on the device. I, of course, had to turn on dark mode because it was on light mode by default. But out of the box, we had the app drawer and we had the Google Play Store on the home screen. Out of the box. Oh, it absolutely handles DS without thinking twice about it. So we can go over here to ESDE. Of course, I didn't exit out of the game. So let's scroll on. Let's exit out of here. I can even do Switch on here, buddy. But Nintendo 64. Well, Ethan, I appreciate you staying up late for us, buddy. Midnight, wow. I appreciate that. Let's try Automobili Lamborghini. Oops. And then just tap this button here to hide the on-screen controls. Should recognize it, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not been configured for N64 because I haven't even thought about yeah. All right. RetroArch. Let's go into RetroArch real quick. I forgot I moved it over to my SD card so I can swap it over to my next device without having to do all the configurations, but I forgot to reset it up. So now I have to remember here. Input. There we go. RetroPad binds controller 1. Let's just try. Okay. Let's try that. Ah, nice. Gotta love local holidays. Still not wanting to recognize my focus on the touch screen. Why are you not recognizing my start button? There we go. Layer 1, arcade. Let's try basic series just to get going. Sure, we're not going to fiddle with it. Try looking at the screen and then confuse myself. I should just look down at the device. Okay, yeah. Whoa, I'm going all over the place. I gotta focus on the screen. This handles like a 90s arcade game. And I have no idea where everyone is because I am horrible. And they're all way ahead of me. So there we go. There is thanks for joining. I appreciate you joining as well. And Stephen, to answer your question, battery is really good depending on what console you're playing. If you're playing N64, PS1, you can get like 6-7 hours of battery life even if you have both screens on. Like if you want to have the Thor command center on so you can see your frames per second, you can see how your CPU and GPU and everything's being utilized, how much power draw you're having. You can, or of course, if you want to just have one screen on, you can turn it on so you have one screen. You can control the brightness individually or together. Just depends on what you want. Same thing for your audio. The reason you'd want two audios is maybe you're watching your favorite episode of The Simpsons from the 90s down here, so it's near 4:3 content, and this is a near 4:3 screen. So you can absolutely do that. Maybe you only want 10% volume on The Simpsons because you know it, and you're just kind of casually listening to it while you play other games. You can do that. Or maybe you're, have a YouTube just passively playing in the bottom screen, and you're playing something up here, or vice versa. Maybe watching YouTube or Netflix up here passively, and you're playing a retro game, so you want a more squarish looking screen, then you could use this one. They're both OLED screens, so that's the beautiful part of it. Both will look absolutely fantastic. And like I say, Brainbeat, thank you for being here, bud. If you do have a suggestion or request for a game, I'd love to take that on as well. So yeah, like I say, those games you'll probably get 5-6 hours pretty easy, 7 hours depending on the game. And as you get down to like SNES, yeah, you'll get 7-8 hours of battery life. Even with this 6-inch OLED running and this 3.94, I think it is, or 3.92 inch, almost square screen running. Doesn't use much power. And of course, you can choose which RGB you want, how bright you want it to be. So I have yellow, but I turned it down, so it's a dimmer yellow versus this is a brighter red. All customizable for you. And you got dual front-facing speakers. Yes, you should go to bed. You can still request a game before you go, and I'll play it, and you can watch it later if you want to. Yeah, so great customizability in that regard. Let's go back. So one of the things I like about having this guy in particular, is Emulation Station Desktop Edition. You can change how it feels all you want. And again, if you've watched any of my videos, you know customization is my big thing. So you can download, they have probably 50 different themes, and then each theme will have different variants. So what I'm using currently is metadata plus box art, but maybe you want metadata and screenshot plus marquee. So let's exit out of that. Actually, I haven't done anything there. Let's go over here, Dreamcast. So you can see this is how it looks now. So you can see the list of the games that you've scraped. You can see the synopsis of it, whether it was rated, when it came out, how many players, if you've played it, and if you leave it, like say, then you get some video. And we come back here, meta and mix image. Change that up. See how that looks different. Okay. So now you can see I have a screenshot with that, and then it's taking up less screen. So similar, because you're still using the same theme, right? But changes it up a little bit. But what if I want to change the theme? Artflix Revisited. Let's see what their default theme looks like. And now instead of going left to right, I'm scrolling up and down. And you get a little information about it, how many games you have, if you favorited any of them, when did the console come out, a little synopsis of the console itself. And then you come into it. I haven't done anything for that one yet. I can't remember if I have for this one. No. Let's come over here to Nintendo. So you can see just by hovering over it, then I get video from that console, from a game I have. And then you can see over here I have a little image of it, and then that becomes the video. What if we do default immersive? What does that do for us? Okay, now you can see it changes how each of the consoles look. You still get kind of that synopsis. Let me go over to another console. There we go. So Game Boy. Again, you see the information. Don't have any video for that. Let's see, GameCube. Do I have anything for GameCube? I can't remember if I do or not. No, I ran out of ones for that day. Super Nintendo. No, probably not. Nintendo, we should. 10-yard pipe. And like as I mentioned previously, I mean, one of the nice things is with ESDE, you can make it your front-end launcher. So this is what it loads into every time you turn on your console, which would give it a true handheld console feel. Colorful pop. What does that mean? With list with video. Oh, so this is kind of cool, right? So now you can see again how many games I have. You can see a synopsis of the console when it came out. I can show that, there we go. And what it looked like connected to the TV. And as a kid, my dad bought, I don't know where, but bought the Atari 2600 for us, and we had an original Nintendo and NES. So I think that looks really cool, seeing what they looked like. The Wonder Swan. That's a funky looking device, like 2 D-pads. I'm not sure how that works. And of course, since these are consoles or arcade cabinet machines. And look at that controller, like a W or a U rather, really strange. Nintendo 3DS. And since I haven't box scraped the 3DS, there we go. So again, one of the things I like about this is being able to make it look how you want it to be. Okay, theme color. Let's try black. Pop images plus colorful and black. That should look good on an OLED. Let's find out. Yeah, I think that looks pretty sharp. With the pure blacks that you get with OLED, it looks pretty cool. And then see, changes it again. So as much as you want, you can really personalize your console with EXDE to make it a console. God of War game, but a Gran Turismo game maybe too. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. All right, so yeah, kind of fun seeing how they have all of these. Fun fact, I had misstated in a previous video saying the PlayStation was my first console that I'd received for myself. Actually, I had convinced my now ex-stepmom, who I still am close with, Linda, to get this for me. So I did have the Nintendo Virtual Boy, and I had like 2 games on it. I had Mario Tennis and something else on it. But yeah, I remember that red screen. Whenever I saw it, I remembered. I was like, oh, I forgot all about that. But Pico 8, interesting that they do a Pico 8 and it makes it look like a handheld. If you're not familiar with Pico 8, it's a fantasy console. So what that means is they created the specs for it and saying these, you cannot escape these bounds, just like you could not for a Nintendo cartridge or a PlayStation game. But they never actually created hardware for it. So it's a virtual console because it's a fantasy console because it's only on these emulation machines. So what I found interesting when I looked into it is some of the Pico 8's specs are more powerful than the original Nintendo, the NES, and some are weaker than the original NES. So you really had to compromise while you're developing for it. I haven't done any box art for it, but alone in Pico, I don't know what that's going to look like, but let's find out. Sorry about the smudges, you guys. This thing is a smudge magnet, which is why the Japanese YouTuber, I can't remember her name right now, but I watched her and she bought this anti-glare matte screen protector film. Of course, it doesn't want to load while I'm standing here. I don't know why, but let's just go back here, ESDE. So I think that looks really cool though, seeing the original hardware. Now, because I'm from North America, we called it the Sega Genesis. For Europeans, they called it the Mega Drive. So one of the nice things is whenever you're setting up your ROMs, in your ROMs folder, you can control where you put it. You can put it in a folder for the Mega Drive if you want Mega Drive labels. Or you could be very specific and sort them out and have only European ones in the Mega Drive, for example, folder, and the North American ROMs in the Genesis. Either way works, but I just put them all in the Genesis one, so that's why it shows up this way. But it's up to you how you do it. Same thing for the 32X. There we go, the Sinclair, and I have to say it appropriately. I usually say the last letter is Z, but it was not released in North America, so I have to say ZX Spectrum. SNK was famous for their arcade cabinets back in the day, and then they released the Neo Geo that actually used arcade cabinet technology. See, and again, if you don't remember, the original PlayStation, when it first launched, did not have analog sticks. So this is not inaccurate. This is 100% accurate for launch PS1. Then they later added the analog sticks. But I remember renting a PlayStation, and yes, we used to rent consoles at Blockbuster Video and other video stores like that, if you're born after this period of time. So yes, I remember renting an original PlayStation and it coming with the controls without analog sticks. So that's ESDE. Like I say, I could go into a deep dive on that at some point in the future, but I can't remember. So Brainbeat said God of War or Gran Turismo. Let's see, I can't remember if I've added either of those, but let's just take a look. No, I can't remember if I even have them on this card, but if not, I'll have them next week for sure. Let's take a look here, select file. Again, you have to go one by one. Oops, and not do that. One by one, okay. So it makes adding Vita games, if you have a big collection like I do, painful. And this isn't all of them either. This is just some of my collection that I have on my 14 terabyte drive. Do I have God of War? I think I skipped over it. Yeah, I skipped over it, unfortunately. And so I'll have to add those two. Let me just add that as a okay. So yes, I do have an actual piece of paper that I'm writing down his request so I can get back to them in the future. Yeah, you should be good to go with having some fun with the Pico 8. Most Pico 8s you can actually go into the emulator and download games directly from there, log in and download the games, or you can download them and then have Emulation Station with get RetroArch as your backend, and RetroArch can recognize those Pico 8 games. So unfortunately, I can't do Gran Turismo on the Vita or God of War. So let's go back over here. All right. Oh, there's my game ending. Change disk, please. All right. Let's go God of War. Did I mess that up? Yeah, okay, there we go. God of War. Changing disk. Okay, let me just force close it and go back. Sometimes it's just easier to go back to your front end. So let's go back to ESD. Take a moment to load because of my 40,000 games on here. So we'll give it a minute. If you don't have 40,000 games on you, then you'll be fine. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it offline too, Brainbeat, and we'll figure it out. All right, so let's go back over, or actually, let's go this way. God of War PS2. I remember when this game came out. As you can see, this 1080p OLED panel looks really, really great. I wish I could skip this, but I can't remember how to skip it. If I can. 3 weeks early. The Aegean Sea. Sorry about the fingerprints again, guys. You see, I've tried cleaning. Ah, I don't know what just happened. Oh, I got stuck on the. Oops. Accidentally touched the screen. Thought I had turned it off to recognize only the top screen, but guess I'm mistaken. Oops, I did it again. Hold on, let me change it to talk screen only. There we go. So you have to change it. If you have it set to auto detect, the last screen you touched is the one that the controls will try working on. So I just changed it to top screen right here to make it so it always recognizes the controls from the top only. That's what I love about the Thor Command Center, is that it is quick, easy access to things that matter. Boy, it's getting temperamental, this one is. There we go. I think that's a good jumping off point. Well, here, we'll try the, see how good the analog sticks are here. Oh, apparently you have to be better than me to use the analog sticks. Okay, I think that's good. So there's some PS2 God of War. All right, so like I say, I'll still get the God of War in Gran Turismo for Vita up and running. They're brain beat. But let's take a look at 3DS. So for that, we jump into Azahar. Now, one of the tricky things about Azahar is you have to, even though CIA and .3ds or .CIA and .3ds are valid extension types for 3DS games, for Azahar to recognize it, you have to change it to .cci, Charlie Charlie India, or Indigo, to get the Azahar to recognize them. So then we can scroll through here, and Ethan had requested Monster Hunter 3 or Monster Hunter 4. I have the Ultimate Edition of both. He had specifically called out Ultimate for 4. So let's just open it up, and you can see we get our second screen natively. So I can bring up quick things like overlays, and you can change your screen locations if you want. So some games need a vertical or upright orientation, so you can change that. Okay, formatting complete. Well, thank you. Then all right, let's go back here. Auto look. Let's just try the other one then. I'm sorry, I'm not sure why it's wanting to play hard to get. Okay. I got him working, and then yeah, because it took me a while to figure out that trick about the .cci being the requirement. But of course, when I'm on camera now, it doesn't want to work. I think I might need to map something different. Let's see here. There we go. All right. Let's go back to Azahar. I just want to fix that one, but let's see. No. Kid of the night, growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Of course, this wouldn't be the Ninja Turtles that I grew up with, but you know. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, turtles in the high shell, turtle power. Next, I'll get these bugs sorted out by the next week's live stream. And just try turning this off. Will that make much difference? I think it's fine. Gets rid of that ring at least. I think I need to do some mapping because it's not working the way I would want it to. Settings, perhaps. Gamepad, yes. This might have been what was wrong with the other game too, so. C stick up. Okay. D-pad up. Oops. D-pad up. I'm not sure what that means. Oh. So, okay. Up, down, left, right. All right, let's try that. Yeah, there we go. Interesting. I'm not sure why it's not recognizing my stick movement. Still not sure why it's not. Yeah. It's not changing anything. I am not sure. I am a noob at this game. I have to get more practice at this game, apparently. Let's just try that again. Sorry, guys. I made sure it was the games would load, but I didn't get any further because it was late into the day whenever I figured out the CCI trick. Let's try this one again. Hey, that looks better. Yes, please do. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, please do. Thank you. Yes, sure. All right. The audio is not as good on this one. It's definitely stuttering more. So that's the thing, right? It's going to be hit or miss. And as they develop more drivers, turnip drivers for this, the better it will get. Okay. Fine, will be Penic. I just entered it. Penic 2. Horrible audio. See if it's any better. Okay, now it sounds better. Wish I could skip ahead. So Ethan, if you're still on, what do you think of Monster Hunter 3's cutscene quality? I hate games that make you watch cutscenes to start. Hopefully I can skip the future cutscenes. And hopefully they start using the bottom screen. There we go, finally. Give me something to do. Come on. Let me see here. Settings, maybe. Graphics, maybe. Vulkan. Yeah, upscaling to 1600 by 960. Okay, there we go. Now we have a second screen. But the audio's gone not so great again. Hopefully it'll catch up and clear up. Let me try the other one. Maybe the other one will be better. No way of knowing until we try it. Create an extra? Yes, please. Cool. I'm thinking so. I think that would work for that, right? Let's just try. Ooh. Take breaks meow and then. Not now and then, but meow and then. Okay, thank you for letting me skip over that. New game. New game. Wow, well, now we get the official keyboard here. So we'll go with P dash. Confirm, please. Yes. Confirm. I already did. Okay, well, okay. I got you. We'll call the cat Ethan. Your Palicio, whatever that is, sure. No, let's have those. Still don't know why that turns on and off so much, but a boat on the sand. All right. There's old Peanic. I don't know where you are, Ethan. Now, how? Oh, am I supposed to? Okay, so that's working the way I would expect it to. Am I supposed to? I don't understand. I need more practice in these types of games. I will have to practice more. I apologize, Ethan, because I am not sure how to get this to move my character. Very strange. All right, let's, for whoever's watching, I've got an idea. Make it a little bit more fun at least. No need to be sorry. All right. Are you smarter than a fifth grader? Hmm. And anyone that's on, you can shoot out game questions, or ask me anything about the device or myself. Happy to help out. Let's go prime time. Jeff Foxworthy used to listen to his cassettes back in the day of his stand-up comedic stuff. Oh, tap to continue. Let's select William. I like spelling and I don't like. I don't know about you, William. Let's go with you because you got bad grades to start with here. Take a look at the categories. Each grade. All right. So we have. Yeah, I remember when it was on too. So we have grammar, world geography, earth, physical sciences, animal sciences, general social studies, U.S. geography, art and music, general English, operations, and general math. Let's go grammar. Select it. All right. Ethan, you have to tell me the answer. What is the subject of Frank sent me to the store to get some cheese? What is the answer, Ethan? Let's make this interactive. I know there's a delay, so makes it interesting. But I'm going to go with Frank. I guess the delay is too much, unfortunately. But hey, we got it right. All right, we got world geography. Let's go with world geography. Sorry, I wanted to be able to ask you guys, but apparently the delay today is too much. Let's see the question. Egypt can be found on what continent? Africa, Asia, Australia, Europe. Well, Ethan's from Australia, so it must be Australia, right? No. Another A? Asia? No. Africa? Yeah, Africa. All right. All right. So who else should we pick here? Let's check out our students here. Let's go with animal sciences. Let's see the question. Which animal is a mammal? A skink? A manta ray? A barracuda? Or a dolphin? What do you think? Well, we'll go with dolphin. Hey! All right. Let's go earth or physical sciences. What do we call the force that pulls things towards the earth? Definitely height, right? No, magnetism, it sticks, right? That's it, no? Mass or gravity? Let's go with gravity. Let's go with, boy, he doesn't get very good grades, does he? Like animal science? Oh. What about you? History? Let's go with you. I think we can work with you, Miss Chelsea. All right. And let's go with U.S. geography. Let's see the question. What state is on the East Coast? We have Alabama, Connecticut, Kentucky, or Illinois. Well, Alabama is on the water, but not on the East Coast. It's not on the West Coast either. So we'll go with, not that, we'll go with Connecticut. Hey! All right, let's go to general social studies. I wish the audio was here, but can't have everything. What is a requirement to be the President of the United States? An American-born citizen. Could be over 50. We know it's not high IQ, and it's not necessarily an ex-senator. So, an American-born citizen. Choose my next classmate. I like history and I like measurements and. All right, so let's go with history because I like history too. English. Tap to continue. All right, let's see what our question is. The phrase "clear the air" is an example of what figure of speech? A metaphor, an idiom, a simile, an analogy. I think it's an idiom. I think it's an idiom. This is where I could be wrong, but let's just try it. Hey, I got it right. This coming from the guy that taught English to adults for 2 years. All right, art and music. This is where I could really fail. Impressionism was recognized as a style of art in what century? Oof. I think it was 19th century. I could be wrong. It could be these others, but I have a feeling it's 19th. Hey, all right. We only got one classmate left. Operations. Subtracted is known as what? Couldn't be subtract head. No, let's just peek at the paper. It said subtracted. I will select it. All right. I was like, seems too obvious. In general math. An estimate, a number that is close to an exact amount but not identical to it. It's called what? An estimate. Hey! So let me know down in the comments. Would you have gotten all these questions right? Which one did you get wrong whenever you were thinking of them? And the $1 million question, history. In 1799, Napoleon's troops discovered what stone that was invaluable to translating hieroglyphics? Does anybody know? Was it the Dead Sea Scrolls, Cleopatra's Needle, the Book of the Dead, or the Rosetta Stone? The Rosetta Stone. A $1 million question. And it's right. You are smarter than a 5th grader. Could you have gotten all those questions right? I want to know. So, moral of the story is 3DS is fairly playable. Now, to make it playable, I do have a driver on this, a graphics driver, a turnip driver, that you can quickly and easily get. And then you can use it on other things like Vita to improve performance of Vita games, improve PS3 game performance. But most games are going to be compatible. Not everything, but they're getting better all the time, both with the updates to the Azahar itself and updates to the drivers are always happening. So they're always going to get better for this, PS3, Vita, as they tweak those graphics drivers, as they update the emulators, they'll get better and better. But 3DS, PS3, and Vita are the 3 big emulators that they're working on today. On Android, there's still not a good original Xbox or obviously Xbox 360 emulator. Hopefully in the future we'll get those. It's funny because they're really hard to emulate, but like the Xbox used off-the-shelf computer parts by and large. So it's quite interesting that it's really hard to be able to emulate an Xbox. So there's that. Okay. Can of course use AYN for switch. And if you didn't know, in Japan, Resident Evil series was called Biohazard. I don't know why it's still an English word, why they chose to do it that way, but they did. So if you ever watch any other people and they talk about the secret console, they're talking about this console. I hate these forced. In an English word, I don't know why they chose Biohazard. Maybe because something about Resident Evil could be hard for a Japanese person to say. So you can see up here what the frames that it's getting, if it'll focus. And then it's doubling it for the 120 hertz mode. You can see that is half of that. I love that it's the Japanese version, but there's still English audio and Japanese subtitles. Can I skip? Come on, I just want to skip. Resident Evil 4, the start of the modern Resident Evil format. Well, relatively. Of course, they've changed it up with like first-person stories and such, but of Resident Evil 4, 5, 6, I believe 7, all kind of based their movements on this. I want to get through a cutscene now at least. Darn forced cutscenes. You can see this secret console, as it's often called because of the company that runs it, runs pretty smoothly on some games too. Don't see any buffering or any audio issues. Whoa! All right. Oops, wrong button. Well, I'm glad I got them right for you. Oh my. Ah, all right. So I guess that's enough of secret console. All right, and then RPCSX3. So the thing about this game is you have, or this emulator, you have to first download the game, or transfer it onto here. I mean, then you have to load it onto here, and then you have to do an initial loading process to have it allow you to be able to play, and then it'll load. Now my ex on my PS3 got me the platinum for this game. I can't deny it. She loves playing this game, so she's like, "Do you want to play Flower?" I'm like, "Not really." She's like, "Do you mind if I log into Flower on your PSN and get you the platinum?" She's like, "I love that game." I'm like, "No, go for it." So she got me the platinum. And you can see that this is pulling 8.68, 8.67 gigabytes of RAM. So that's why I say at least the Pro, if you'd want to get the Pro with at least 12 gigabytes of RAM, this is the max with 16 gigabytes of RAM. So I have the most headway, and I also have a terabyte of internal storage. I also have a terabyte micro SD card. The one I got goes with this is a SanDisk Creator, just because it's a really high-end one, should last a long time, and has good read-write speeds. So this is the one I have inside here right now. And truth be told, the reason I'm keeping this on my desk is to pop out the micro SD card. It's easiest just to use this. I can't remember. But this is a beautiful game, though. I watched her play it. So you can see this PS3 game works pretty well. Again, it's going to be very hit or miss, just like with the 3DS. Just easier to exit. Now, for example, Tecmo Bowl wants to launch too, and I love that it wants to launch. I used to play this with my friend Steve on the Nintendo, the original Nintendo at his house. Yes, 96, 97, even 98 in the era, and 99 in the era of PlayStation, we still played this game at his house. So Steve, if you're watching this, buddy, shout out to you. And all of the interesting times we had playing Tecmo Bowl on the original Nintendo. I think this is based on the SNES Super Tecmo Bowl, but let's give it a try. Ethan's always asking for some American football, oddly enough. Since nobody else is talking, suggesting the game, we'll go with this. Of course, you can choose your weather. Now, one of the things I loved about this game, and I have it on my PlayStation 3 in my bedroom, is you can toggle between retro and modern graphics. Of course, modern from PlayStation 3 on a download-only game. But let's see, previous drivers had issues where the center would be loading properly, but then, oh, did the game freeze? It says compiling shaders. Okay, so it's stuttering with the new drivers, but it may have fixed the issue. One of the things you'll need to know too is RPCX on their website, they list, or on their GitHub, they say the most recent game was, or update to this was, I believe, back in April, but that's whenever they actually enabled in-app updates. So you download it, and immediately you get downloaded the most recent version of RPCSX for PlayStation 3 games. And then it's always advisable, again, to use those custom drivers. But apparently, this driver doesn't want to work like the other one did. 4 frames per second. That means the game's really doing like 2. And look at that, working at 14.2 gigabytes of RAM. Wow, this one's and 10 watts of power, maxing out the CPU, almost maxing out the GPU. It's trying its best. Oh, and then it crashed. So on a previous driver, because I just downloaded those turnip drivers today, they were the game was working, but the sides of the field were not moving, but the center was, unless you moved it to retro look. Now it looks like all of it's moving, but getting gimpy that way. So when you're downloading RPCSX, you have to download the most recent PS3 firmware from PlayStation's website. So you just Google PS3 firmware, go to Sony's website, don't go anywhere else, don't trust anywhere else, and tell it you want to download to your computer the firmware, and then download it and transfer it to this. And then you'll have the option to add it. And then custom drivers. You can see I have a number of drivers here. Default, let's try, I think R2, R1, this would be the most recent. So let's back out. Tech Mobile. See if I can show you what I was talking about earlier. You saw that it loaded everything well, but then we are getting horrible frame rate. Sorry, sometimes my phone has trouble deciding what it wants to focus on. Let's just go Buffalo versus San Francisco, just so I can get through more quickly. Loading. Now watch this. You'll see this part of the screen start to get a little funky. And then see the scoreboard is funky. Get all kinds of jitters going, and then watch whenever it starts moving. But break it out retro, and then you're good. So now you can see the retro look. All right, let's go up and circle. Pass. Run. Run, Forrest. First down, all right. All right, up and X. No, Steve, I'm not doing us any favors, buddy, for our memories. Even though I don't think we played this version, but. Let's go down and circle. Go. Why'd you come back? You're supposed to go deep. All right, let's try this one where they come back in. Oh, man. See, I can call a punt. I don't want to call a punt, though. Let's go our same run play. Oop, I picked a pass play. Whoops, got up there. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to catch it, but that's all right. Have a little fun. And it's still, the newer game, running just fine. See? But just the sides are a little funny. Oh, oh. There we go. So I changed the driver there for us too. So I think that's going to be it for today's live stream, because that's been 2 hours now, and I'm not sure. It looks like we still have people on. Let me see. Besides Ethan. What is my mouse? Even all slow like. Anyways, so yeah, I think that's going to be it for today's live stream. So I want to thank you guys for joining in. Like I said, I'll do another live stream on this on next Wednesday. So don't forget to comment down in this video, Friday's video, any day's video, anytime. Say, hey, for a live stream on a top tier device, I want to see this. Or on a medium tier device, I want to see this. Of course, I'll play any medium tier game on this as well. But if you're talking about a medium tier device, like my Heligali Action Pi, I'll be happy to do that. Speaking of which, I just remembered a subscriber had previously requested on that device Panzer Dragoon. So at least for a couple minutes, I'll give that a try on that device next week because I want to finally get around to it. I apologize for taking so long. But I do want to thank you again for taking time out of your days to watch this live stream as I do with every video. I know there are millions of YouTubers out there, and I'm a guy with a small, random, handheld focused channel. I'm just trying to show off my love for these handhelds and hopefully help you have a love for these types of handhelds and know what they're capable of. You know, a lot of people don't know that, you know, if they have a phone that was a top-end phone, say 3 years ago, this is just as powerful as that phone was, right? They think, oh, handhelds aren't going to be that powerful, but really those phones were very powerful, and these are very powerful too, because they don't have to worry about other things like taking pictures. Not perfect by any means, is it? But hey, it could be worse. Let's take a look at the old logo on the shirt again. Hey, look there. Again, you can't buy it, but if you win the member giveaway at 500, 1,000 and above, you'll be able to get a shirt or many other different gifts that have Phoenix logos on it, depending on what you want, including a desk mat just like this. But you have to be a member or subscriber on this channel and a member on my blog, phoenix-handhelds.com. And again, the only reason for that, you'll never get an email from me saying newsletter or anything like that. It would only be communicated with you if you message me first or if you win a member giveaway coming directly from contact@phoenix-handhelds.com only. No other email would you ever see me send you a message. But again, that's only because YouTube will not allow me to direct message you through YouTube. And I don't want you to think that there's going to be a comment in here, hey, Ethan, you've won a gift. Contact me at 123.pnic@gmail.com. 1, that's not my email. 2, I'll never leave a comment about who won in the threads. So it'll only be in a video. And I'll tell you, hey, Ethan, you won. Please check your inbox and your spam folder to see if you received my message. That would be the only time that you'd hear a shout out. And I would say your name. So again, please, when you do join the website, send me a message. There's a live chat type function. Say, hey, PNIC, I just subscribed on your YouTube channel, and here my YouTube name is this, and my first name is Ethan. That's all I need. So if you win, I can send you a message, let you know. And then, of course, I'll ask you for your full name, your full shipping address to send you your gift. Heck, if you're in Bangkok, I'll even personally deliver it. So whether you're a Farang like me, which Farang is just foreigner in Thai. So whether you're a Farang like me or you're a native Thai like my wife, I will give you your gift in person if you're in Bangkok. But you have to be subscribed to both my website and my YouTube channel. But I'm not going to jibber jabber on about that. That's up to you. If you're interested, I talked about it earlier in the stream, so you can rewatch the stream and see that part of it. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm always here for you guys, whether it's about a handheld or anything else. Shoot me a message. PNIC means big brother, so think of me like your big brother. I'm happy to help any way I can. But without further ado, I'm going to end today's stream. So I want to thank you again for joining me. And until next time, Swati Tuk Kong Krap. This has been PNIC.